You know, back in the ancient world, that line between safety and, well, chaos, it was razor thin. So protection, it wasn't just about putting a lock on your door. It was a sacred, constant, everyday concern. And we're about to dive into this incredible parable about two divine forces they used to guard everything, the stone and the spark.
And that line, wow, it just perfectly sets the stage, doesn't it? We're looking at two ancient sentinels, both guarding against the terrors of the night. But here's the thing, their methods, their entire way of being, are complete opposites. This is a story all about contrast, shadow and light, and how ancient people actually used both to feel safe.
So here it is, our central comparison. It's really a story of two totally opposing ideas. On one side, you've got the Gorgon. Think of it as this static, terrifying force that just stops evil dead in its tracks. And then on the other side, there's Hecate, who's all about this dynamic, illuminating power that actually guides you through the dark. So one protects with the shock of the monstrous, the other with the clarity of divine light. Let's dig into that first one, the staying force.
All right, first up, the way of stone. This is the path of absolute, unyielding defense. We're stepping right into the domain of the Gorgon's petrifying gaze.
So the Gorgonion, it's way more than just a scary face. The ancients actually saw it as a static engine of aversion. I mean, think about that. It's like a piece of magical tech, a boundary shaper built for one single purpose, to repel. It literally transformed a regular old doorway into a fortified wall, making this incredibly clear statement of absolute hardcore defense.
But, where does this engine even come from? Well, it's actually born from trauma. The whole story of the Gorgon is about one single, frozen moment of tragedy. Her scream, that sound of terror and pain, is captured and then weaponized. It's transformed from the cry of a victim into a permanent, powerful talisman. Yeah, literally, a shield made from a scream.
And that really gets to the core of how it works. The Gorgon's message is incredibly simple, direct, and completely non-negotiable. You can't talk to it, you can't reason with it. It has one and only one absolute command for anyone who approaches with bad intentions.
And that command is a terminal halt. That's the whole point right there. It doesn't guide you, it doesn't warn you gently, it freezes any hostile intent dead in its tracks. That's the raw power of pure, unmoving stone. But, like I said, this kind of absolute defense, it's only half the story.
So, from that unmoving stone, let's turn to the complete opposite, the dancing flame. This is the way of fire, a kind of protection that isn't about stopping, but about seeing. And this is the world of the goddess Hecate.
Now, right away, you can see the difference. Unlike the Gorgon's face, Hecate's torches, they aren't weapons of terror. They're tools for a guide. They provide what's called dynamic illumination, basically a living light that helps you figure out your path through those tricky in-between spaces, like crossroads or the doorways between worlds.
And this really shows you her role as the light bringer. See, she doesn't just block the path, she actually helps you find the right one. Her protection comes from wisdom, from being able to perceive things clearly. It's a guardianship of movement, offering you safety through clarity, not through sheer terror.
And here it is, the direct countercommand to the Gorgon. If the Gorgon says stop, the torches say see. It's totally different, right? It's an act of empowerment. It's about giving you the ability to understand and navigate the darkness for yourself.
So the end result isn't a dead end, it's a path forward. Hecate's whole deal is helping you navigate the shadows safely. Okay, so we've seen these two big cosmic ideas, seemingly in opposition, but how do they actually work together in the most practical place of all?
Let's bring this huge duality right down into the most intimate space there is, the ancient home. Because in there, these forces weren't just some abstract concepts. They were part of a practical, everyday theater of shadow and light.
And this table just lays out the practical side of things so clearly. You'd find the Gorgon on things like ovens or roof tiles. The idea was to use sympathetic magic, basically darkness to fight darkness, like a psychic poison against the evil eye. Its job was to repel the other with a threat. But Hecate, her shrine was right at the entrance. Her magic was all about purifying, a cleansing fire. It wasn't designed to repel at all, but to invite the sacred in with a welcoming flame. Total opposites.
Okay, so now we get to the real heart of this whole parable.
because it's not just a story about opposites. It's actually about a necessary, really profound union. This is where the stone and the spark finally come together. This is where we see the really deep psychological meaning. The Gorgon, it represents the frozen soul. It's the trauma of the past, literally weaponized to protect the present. But Hecate, she's the hopeful spirit. She's all about the potential of the future. She is that light that goes down into the underworld and comes back, proving that, yeah, the night is vast, but it's survivable.
And all of this leads us to this incredible, unifying idea, that these aren't actually competing ways to protect yourself. No, they're two halves of a whole. They represent two fundamental needs that we all have.
First, well, we need a shield. We need that strength to just say no, to set a hard boundary and deflect the violence that the world can throw at us. That is the gift of the Gorgon.
But a shield by itself isn't enough, is it? We also need the lamp. We need the wisdom to see things clearly, to navigate all the complexity, and to find our own path through the darkness. And that, of course, is the gift of Hecate.
And here's the beautiful conclusion to it all. The Gorgon's gaze makes sure that nothing evil gets in, but Hecate's light makes sure that nothing good gets lost in the gloom. It was in that delicate balance between the unmoving stone and the guiding spark that the ancient home, and maybe the human soul itself, found its divine peace.
So that leaves us with a pretty big question for our own time, doesn't it? In our world, which is full of its own kinds of shadows, which one do you think we need more of right now? The unyielding shield that stops a threat cold, or the illuminating light that shows us the way through it? It's definitely something to think about.